long will it take for this consumption narrative to play out with China coming back at a time when also we have prices accelerating?
Sure. I think when it comes to consumption returning, it's something we need to watch quite closely. As we've seen with reopenings in other parts of the world, it's not something that just snaps back immediately. There's still a bit of caution as people sort of ease back into comfort levels of going out. Mobility will take time to come up as well, and that's not even a comment on the stock market. It's human nature. So I think we should expect some time for that to ramp up, and perhaps it's a second quarter or second half of the year type story that we should be seeing.
We continue to hear the debate about the investability into China's assets, but you like Chinese tech, internet especially. Tell us a little bit about why, and is it the regulatory aspect of things that you're liking, and are there concerns that Beijing might change course again?
Yes, that's actually a really good topic. With Chinese internet, I think there are a few things there. So firstly, with the reopening, depending on how quickly that comes back, but as long as it comes back, you would see things like advertising spend, e-commerce, or even travel pick up, which would be beneficial for earnings for many of these tech giants. And secondly, as you've rightly pointed out, the regulatory picture is also potentially easing, so that could be positive for sentiment. And I think thirdly as well, when you look at how that sector has been something that's been very battered down over the past few years, valuations also aren't extremely stretched. So altogether, that's a fairly or a reasonably compelling case to keep an eye on.
Outside of China, of course, the other big surprise came out of the Bank of Japan at the end of last year, at the same time that we were contending with the China reopening. What are you watching out for the BOJ, and how does it inform new opportunities that you might see in the Japanese market?
Yes, that's actually, it's quite a holiday surprise from the BOJ there. I mean, when we think about Japanese banks in the context of the region, they've never actually been high up in the pecking order when you think about relative attractiveness. But what happened at the end of last year, you've really got to think about, is this the end of, or is this a regime change and the start of, say, better returns for Japanese banks? And I think that plays into how capital allocators think as well. You've got banks that have done well in other markets. Should we then be looking at reallocating capital to some of these perhaps less looked at names in Japanese financials?